The next step in the process is to join the exterior mitered rails. There are 3 of these. Now normally when we do a mitered joint with Dowelmax, Dowelmax is configured perpendicular to the miter, and therefore the dowels are perpendicular to the face. So when you fit it together, it forms a joint like that. Now we can't do that in this particular case simply because when we join Dowelmax, we have to keep the dowel which will go into the miter in the same axis as these 3 dowels. Now I found a simple way to get around that problem. First of all, we place our workpieces together. We want to reference this transverse piece, so we reference from the rear face. We put the check marks on the 2 edges, the 2 faces, and X's on the surfaces to be drilled. Now we then drill these 3 holes. Either I've used the extended distance gauge, or you can use the indexing pin to relate these holes. Now after you've drilled them, we dry fit the transverse miter joint. Now note that you have to leave, this is 3/8 of an inch wide, so we have to leave a 3/8 of an inch extension to allow for the miter, which I've marked here as you can see. Now once that's on, we know we're referenced here, but this cannot be changed now, and we now fit Dowelmax, once again referencing from the top. We fit Dowelmax firmly against this face here. This is now a reference face, and we clamp, and in this particular case I've drilled in number 2 guides, which goes in through and beyond the diagonal here. In this case we have to drill into this surface about 2 inches to go beyond the diagonal. Now that's complete, and also what we can do at this stage is we now know for sure our reference mark here, put a fine line on this edge in here where it meets the edge of the tabletop. I've used 3/4 inch dowels here, or 1.5 inch dowels penetrating 3/4, but you can use 2 inch dowels if you feel inclined that way. Now, what we do with the longitudinal panel is very similar. We have to allow, again, this is 3 inches wide, so we have to allow a 3-inch extension on each end of the rail to allow for the miter joint. Now, I've used the Dowelmax in its maximum position to reference these. There's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 along the front, and then we'll dry fit it. Now we only want to dry fit it with some dowels, not all dowels, because we'll have trouble getting it adrift. Now in this particular case, as you can recall, we referenced from the edge of the tabletop here. Now all we have to do in this case is once again reference from the top. Get that. Secure it. Flush with this edge here. And then number 2 again, and we drill in a bit further this time. We have to drill in 2 3/4 inches into this longitudinal part to get the sufficient room for the dowel. Now when you've finished, you'll have a section, rather than this diagonal section shown here, you'll have a section which is like that. So when the miters are cut, the joint will go together like so. So once again, before we begin the miter, we put a very fine line on the edge here to signify the inside of the mitre.